a good question here. And I think let me close out. Maxim number 59 says, the longer you're away from seducing new women, the harder it will be to seduce one when you want. So that is factual. You have to keep your skills sharp. Balancer asks, hey, Fort Worth, well, how do you find so many new women on a regular basis? And this is what I want to convey. And this is one of those things. And there's two schools of thought here. But number one is when you focus in and you say, okay, I'm going to say hi to every attractive girl I see, you start seeing more attractive women. You start seeing more girls you can open up. You start seeing more girls you can speak to. You start seeing more attractive girls because you kind of like set your brain to see it. And the only real, there's reticular activating cortex, the RAC, that's within the brain. And you can look it up, you can Google it. And it's basically a mechanism within your brain that once you kind of like focus in on a specific object, be it like a white Toyota 4Runner, you say, you know what, I think I want to buy a Toyota 4Runner. You will very quickly start seeing white Toyota 4Runners everywhere you go, all the time. Your buddy will have one. One will pass you in the parking lot. You'll see two of them driving side by side down the highway. Your brain clues in to the things that you want to see, to pay attention to, and you'll see more of them. And the same thing goes with attractive women. Unless you're just in like a horrible, there's certain environments, like you're in basic training. There's not going to be too many attractive women in the area. And even the average ones will start looking attractive. But let's say your environment is equal. You start deciding to see a certain thing, more attractive women. I want to talk to more girls. You're going to see more. And the second thing is, and it's something that I always talk about, like best jobs for players, or best jobs to meet attractive women, or best jobs to meet women. Sometimes if you're in a horrible environment, let's say, you work in a warehouse that's not air conditioned, it's just you and the 65-year-old wife of the owner of the warehouse, and you're the warehouse guy, and it's her, and she works the phones and you work the warehouse. It's going to be a tough environment. So I always suggest guys to get yourself into an environment or work in an environment. That's why we always say bartender, work in the door, working anything that works with nightlife. I don't suggest like valet parking, because you're kind of like in and out, you're running back and forth. I'm sure there is, but you don't have as much freedom of movement or security. Anything that works with bar, any food and drink service, you'll tend to be around more attractive, more women. And like with the food and drink service, you don't end up like sleeping with the guests. You end up sleeping with your coworkers. It's just one of those like really charged atmospheres where everybody kind of ends up hooking up together. But you're also around a lot of the public, so you get better with your skills. Again, bartender is always the best one that I say, because you get rewarded for being charismatic. There's no downside. You're around alcohol, which is sex fuel. There's so many positives in this one environment. And you don't have to stay there forever. You spend like a year or two doing this, and you're going to have skills that last you forever. But again, getting yourself in the right environment and then practicing your skills, there's no downside. It's kind of like Bunny and I, we're in the gym business. So when we're in the gym, and you always think of yourself as like the mayor of the gym, you have to be personable. Every person that comes in, someone says hi to them. Every time you see a customer or client or member, hey, how are you doing today? And then every time they leave, you have a great day. Thanks for coming in. This shit goes a long way to making them feel welcome. And even if they're having a shitty day, it helps reinforce they're in the right place and they came to the right place to invest their time and their money. So your environment matters. And if you kind of think of yourself as personable and greeting people, saying hi to everyone that comes in, over time, this will become very much automatic. But the environment, either, and you can work as a personal trainer. A lot of guys have reached out to me about that, just even like working in a gym, because a lot of people are coming in. I don't know so much about like coffee shops. Bunny enjoyed working at the coffee shop as a girl, and it was all girl staff. So there might not be a downside there. She would probably be the best expert on this. But again, waiting tables, you're, you know, in a fun, where everybody's kind of your age atmosphere, you're going to meet more people your age, that you can be personal with. And people that tend to wait tables tend to have a little bit more extroversion. So you're going to pick up some of those habits. But again, you got to be in the right environment. You can have the best skills in the world, but if you're working in a warehouse by yourself and then you go straight home and you play video games, then you get up in the morning and you go back to the warehouse, you're not going to see a lot of women. So you do have to somewhat purposefully put yourself in the right environment. And that's how you do that. I hope I answered your question to the best of my ability. Next slide.